Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we had the first round of the playoffs against the Calgary Flames, and we managed to beat them in 6 games. It was a little bit of a closer series than we had originally anticipated. As you can see, we won the first 2 games 5-4, and then we won 6-2. But then we lost both games in Calgary by a score of 5-2 and 2-0, and I thought our offense had completely drawn up and that we were going to eventually keep on losing games. Well, our team managed to win back on home ice again 5-2, so on home ice we were doing really good goal scoring wise. On the road, not so much. So going into Game 6, I didn't really think that we were going to be able to get our offense going again on the road, and we managed to do so in Game 6, winning 6-3, so we had a total of 4 games where we won, obviously, and all of them were 5+ goals. The games that we lost, basically we didn't score more than 2 goals, so hopefully obviously we could start scoring more goals again in the next round, because obviously if we don't score goals, that's when we're going to get into probably some lost territory. But we're going to be going up against a tough team in Colorado, which is kind of interesting because they knocked out the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round. Chicago has been a team we played a lot in the playoffs before, but they get knocked out a little bit earlier. You also still have Anaheim and LA, which is really interesting because regardless, that means if we manage to beat Colorado, we're either going to be taking on Anaheim, who we've faced a ton of times in the conference finals so far, or the Los Angeles Kings, who have Michael Misa because we traded them there in the offseason. So both those teams looking to still win their first cup in a while. I think LA had won one, I think, at one point, if I remember right, when they had like Kyle Connor. But Anaheim has not won yet at this point. You could argue that if a team's going to win a cup this year, it would probably be Anaheim, because last year they got to the cup final, lost to Buffalo, but Buffalo was knocked out in the first round, which was kind of a major surprise to me. You still have the Flyers and Islanders, Detroit, and Ottawa as well. But let me show you guys what the players were doing for us in the first round, and then we'll get into your guys' comments, take a look at what Colorado's looking like again, and actually get into the second round matchup. But basically, you can see our offense was really good in that first round, and except for those 2 games that were in Calgary in Game 4, or 3 and 4, not 4 and 5, 3 and 4. But you can see everybody did really well, especially Aiden Irving with those 7 goals in 6 games. Like, he was fantastic. But in general, everybody on our team picked up a point in that first round, except for Bjorn Backer, who's more of a DFD, so it makes sense. And then our goaltending was a little bit inconsistent at times because Plekanec came in. He wasn't great. Bergqvist had a couple of games where he was a little bit weird, well, especially his loss, I should say. But then he got yanked out because he had like a minor injury. Plekanec came in, lost us that game. But Bergqvist, when he did win games, was actually decent. So I'm hoping, obviously, for him to continue that into the next round, because obviously we need those wins and we need good defensive play if we're going to want to continue to win series, because I don't think our offense can sustain this level. Then again, when we won the Stanley Cup many years ago, we did have a very good offensive instinct with our entire team, and mostly on our top 6. So maybe it's that type of year as well. But there is some underlining problems with like the plus minus on a few guys. So hoping that clears up a little bit as well into round number 2. But anyways, let's get into your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll get into probably looking at what the Avs look like and getting into this second round matchup. So the first comment is from Michael Dose, who says, closer than expected series. Irving is a beast. And yeah, definitely it was a little bit closer than expected. Like, I didn't expect to lose both those game 3 and 4 in Calgary, but we ended up losing them. And then I was, like I said, I thought we were going to lose the series, and then our team managed to find ways to score goals like they did in the first 2 games of the series. So at least I was good to respond to that, mainly because of Aiden Irving, though, you could say, with those 7 goals in 6 games. Last and final comment is from Sound Taku, who donated me $75 and said go buy some new headphones. And man, you're outrageous. I don't know how you just give me $75 like that. Thank you so much, man. Because I don't know if I'll actually be able to use them towards headphones, because I have to basically pay for my Adobe software, because or else I can't video edit. So basically right now it's charged to my credit card, but I really appreciate it. Money is a little bit tight with me just doing YouTube all the time because I don't have an actual job at the moment, so I really appreciate the donation, man. Means more than you'd probably see from my face right now while I'm talking, so really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for your support on this channel, because you've been a Patreon supporter for I think like 4 or 5 months now at this point, maybe even longer than that. So very much appreciated. But anyways, those were the comments we got in last episode. So let's get into looking at the Colorado Avalanche, because I honestly don't really remember too much what their lineup looks like. I know that they had Cale Makar still, but it's been a couple days again since I've recorded an episode, so I want to double check. Oh yeah, now I remember this team. Okay. So a lot of veteran kind of guys. What's interesting is Julian Fairchild is over there now. So one of our former draft picks who also played in Arizona. Yeah, they have some good offensive depth, I remember this, but it's a little bit weak on like the left side, for example. The right side's pretty solid, though. The center depth is pretty solid, so left wing is definitely where they're a little bit weaker than most teams. From a defensive standpoint, though, Lapalainen was on Anaheim at one point. He was pretty good. Cale Makar is obviously really good, but he's 38 now. He hasn't dropped off, which is kind of surprising. His potential has, but his overall hasn't. So this might be the last year Cale Makar goes for another Stanley Cup. Bowen Byram's still there. Yeah, it's a pretty old-looking team, it looks like, on paper. And then their goaltending, too. Stuart Skinner's 38 as well, and Lilia's the backup. So their goaltending isn't the best. Their defense is okay, and then their offense is solid. So if we are able to find a way to score on these goaltenders, we should be able to do well. But who knows, maybe Stuart Skinner is a cheese goalie. But so far, it doesn't seem like it, because after that first round, he had an .885 save percentage. So he hasn't been good in the playoffs since, I guess, they got swept in 2031, where he had a .936 save percentage. Yeah, it's been a while since the Avs actually had a good goaltender in the playoffs, I guess, because, yeah, even the year that it looks like they went to the finals, he had an .896 save percentage. So it looks like they pretty much just outscored their problems, and that's how they win games. So obviously it would be important for us to outscore them, which obviously we can do because we do definitely have the skill level to do so. So anyways, those were the lines. Let's get into this next matchup. They won 45-36-1, so they weren't terrible, but obviously if we lose to any team, technically it would be a disappointment just based on the fact that we had 60 wins this season. So let's see if we could get back to that conference finals, and if we are going to get to the conference finals, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Anaheim again, or is it going to be Michael Misa and the LA Kings? Because if it's Michael Misa and the LA Kings, that's going to be an interesting matchup. If it's going to be Anaheim again, that's going to be another slaughter fest, so to speak, like a good old rivalry, considering we've literally played them like, I think, 4 straight consecutive seasons, maybe 3 consecutive seasons. We've won most of them, but it's been a lot of conference finals matchups with them, so I wouldn't be surprised if we play them again as well. Anyways, let's get into game number 1 on home ice. Colorado won their series in 7 games, so maybe they're a little bit tired, but they also could be a little bit more energized too. You never know. But here we go. Game number 1, first period. 2-1 lead for the Avs, and that's not great to start off defensively for Bergqvist. Akeem Hansen opened the scoring, though, which is not necessarily who I had on the bingo card to score in the series, but he scores. Then Dawson Mercer scored 2 goals a minute apart, roughly. So there was 3 goals in that period, but all of them were in the first 5 minutes of action. So both goaltenders played a little bit better near the end of the period, it looks like, but still, 2 goals on 10 shots is not really what we want from Bergqvist, because obviously he had a solid first round. I know he's lacking experience, but hopefully he can find a way to be a little bit better in the next period, and hopefully our offense could find a way to score some goals. This is a crucial second period. Let's see if we could find a way to tie this game up or grab that lead. Second period. Still 2-1 Colorado. I mean, I'll take that. I would rather be down still 2-1 than being down 3-1, so not a bad period, but obviously we need to find our offense, because our offense isn't off to a great start here in game number 1. Shots are 23-19 in favor of us, so we are getting our opportunities, but their goaltender and Stuart Skinner is actually playing good. Like last round, he didn't play that good, but apparently right now he knows how to play against us. So anyways, let's see what happens in period 3, see if we can find a way to tie this one up early if possible. Come on, guys. Penalty kill to start the third period. We killed it off. Power play for us. We do not score on it. And then, of course, Lekkerimäki scores to make it 3-1 Colorado. Not the best first game here so far. Jacuzzi pulls us back within 1 again, though. Do we have another goal in us to tie this one up? Come on, guys. We've been trailing the entire game pretty much, except for the early stages of the first. Penalty kill. We kill it off. Can we tie it late? No, we cannot. We lose game 1 by a score of 3-2. That trend continues where if we don't score more than 2 goals, we end up losing. So we definitely need to find a way to get that offense going in the next game, because obviously if we lose both games on home ice headed to Colorado, that's not ideal. Shots 32-27 at the end of it, but we lose by a goal. So not a bad goaltending performance, I would say, fully from our goaltending in Bergqvist. But obviously, since we scored a minute 9 in, we should have been able to score more goals after that. But then Stuart Skinner got locked in, and then Jacuzzi scored in the third period. So, I don't know if I want to make any adjustments or not. Because, I mean, it was an okay game. Like, we didn't give up a ton of goals, but obviously our offense needs to be better. Because Colorado is maybe feeling it a little bit now after they won Game 7 in the last round. They have some momentum that they're carrying into this next round. So we got a bit of weary about that. So let me go to edit lines here and take a look at our lineup for a second. Oh yeah, Jacuzzi went back into the top 6. That's right. You know what? I'm going to go back to the lines that we had before, which means Jacuzzi back onto the third line. Even though Jacuzzi scored last game, I think going back to the lines we had before at one point would be beneficial. From a defensive standpoint, we'll go back to Backer, Vandermeer, Louis Var, and Goddard, that type of thing. And we'll keep with Bergfist, because Bergfist has been solid still in net. And obviously when Plekanec played, he was not good at all. So I don't think I'll ever turn to Plekanec unless it's like somehow like, I don't know, Bergfist plays terribly for like 3 straight games. Who's up in the other side? Anaheim's up 1-0 yet. Anaheim's such a good team, but they have not won a cup yet. So if they don't win the cup this year and we don't win the cup, I will be kind of surprised. Because Anaheim definitely deserves the cup at some point with how they've been playing in terms of the playoffs, but they just haven't been able to get over that hump too much in the conference finals. And obviously last year when they did, they ran into a good Buffalo Sabres team, so that had lost to us multiple times. Okay, let's get into Game 2, see if we can find that offensive level a bit, because obviously if we do not score more than 2 goals, we might be in a bad spot. So, first period of game number 2, do we have more goals in us this time around? Okay, we did open the scoring, good. Goddard opens the scoring with 4:43 left. Shots are 11-11, so pretty even period. Not necessarily the most offense that we could get in net, obviously. In the net, but obviously it's good to have that 1-0 lead, and hopefully we could add to that in the second period and also play good defensive hockey too, because that would go a long way in terms of helping us win this game. We know that Colorado could score goals, so it would be beneficial to have a really good second period here, so that way it's not as difficult on us in the third period. So do we have a good second ahead? Second period? Oh no, what the hell is happening, man? Lakira Maki, Dollywall scored 2 power play goals. Pinto scores those 3 goals in the first 9 minutes and 7 seconds of the period. And all of a sudden, after having a 1-0 lead, we're down 3-1 going into the third, which is a worse spot than the last game to be in. Shots are 24-21 in favor of Colorado. We might have to make some drastic adjustments going into the next game, because if Colorado takes both of our home games, we're going to have to take both of theirs, or else we're in a bad spot regardless. Like, this could end up being one of the earliest exits we have in the last, like, 10 years. But the only reason it would be because of that is because we won 60 games. You know we were going to get cheesed at some point, and I feel like this is definitely the round that we're going to get cheesed in based on how we've been playing. So shots are 24-21. We're down by a pair of goals. We need 2 goals in us in this third period, or else we're going to lose both of our home games and also our home ice advantage, so to speak. Can we get a goal early to set the tone? Let's see what happens. Come on, guys. Please get back in us. Let's go. Caden Wilson pulls us within 1. Power play for us. We do not score. Penalty kill. Nicely done. Come on, guys. We need another goal. We need to score 3+ goals if we want to win this one, potentially. Do we have another goal in us? Anybody? Anybody, please. Irving, somebody. Otto Stenberg gets a goal late, and we're going to lose 4-2. And once again, the trend continues where if we do not score more than 2 goals, we then end up losing games. Final shots were 35-32, so we outshot them again, but Stuart Skinner has been locked in, which is not great. Oh, man, this is not a great start. Once again, though, we opened the scoring just like last game, but we weren't able to have a good second period. So Goddard from Bickle and Wilson from Bickle and Irving. Yeah, we're going to have to do some adjustments, because we need to be able to find ways to win in Colorado, or else the series is done. Alright, so let's go to Game 3, and let's make some adjustments, but I don't really know what. We're getting outscored 7-4, and Aiden Irving has yet to score in the second round, which is not ideal. Trying to think what we could do. Let's go Ekholm top line, Bickle second line. Trying to think what else we could do here. I'll go back to Goldman down the middle on the third line. And instead of moving Jacquizzi up, we're going to put Esteban Walter into the top 6. From a defensive standpoint, I'm going to take Louis Vara and move him down to the top 6. And we're going to move Vernarski back into the top 4. Goaltending-wise, Bergqvist is getting worse as time goes on, but I'm not going to go to Plekanec. Do I have anything in the minors I could call up? There is Mills, but Mills isn't really ready yet. And what else we got here? Jamal Hurd could potentially come up. There's also like Tremblay, Reason, Mishchenko, Zach Dean. There's a lot of guys that could get called up if we want to. Mikas. I don't think a lot of these guys are really worth calling up. Jamal Hurd might be, though. Let me take a look at the plus and minus issues on the fourth line. There's none. Yeah, the plus minus really isn't that big of an issue throughout this team still because of that first round. Let's go with Scarlett on the top pairing, and we'll put Backer next to Goddard. And then we'll put Vernarski and Louis Vara together instead. Just change it up as random as possible. Bergqvist hasn't been good. Hopefully he beats better in the next game. And yeah, we'll run something like this. Yeah, I think this is what we're going to go with. So let's hope that Aiden Irving can get going and spark this team a comeback, because we know that he has goals in him in the playoffs. Losing the first 2 games is not ideal considering the fact that they had to go to a game 7. Like, we should have been fully rested, but instead we are not fully rested, it seems like, and they definitely have the energy upper hand. Alright, well, this is not a great start. The other conference matchup is 1-1, and then in the East, both series are 2-0. Okay, so let's get to game number 3. I had to make a cut because I sneezed. And then, man, it doesn't feel good when you sneeze, and then afterwards you have to try and start talking still. But here we go. This is a crucial game to this series. We've lost both home games. Can we find ways to win on the road to maybe claw ourselves back into the series? Because we haven't been that great on the road so far in the playoffs. First period of a crucial game 3. 1-0 us. Hey, look, we have the lead again. So that's our 3rd game in a row where we've scored first. But afterwards is usually when we fall apart. So hopefully this team could find a way in the second period to be a bit better respective in terms of defense, and also find a way to score more goals. Because like I said before, if we do not score more than 2 goals, usually we always lose. So shots are 10-9 in favor of Colorado, but Walter has our only goal. Can we have a good second period ahead of us, better than last game? Because last game we allowed 3 goals in the second period, so it would not be good to do that again. Second period, 3-1 us. Okay, there we go. We had a 3-0 lead, though, which is good. So, Vandermeer power play goal. Vernarski scores, so we're getting some goals from the back blue line, which is nice to see. And then Stenberg gets the Avs on the board. Shots are 24-17 in favor of Colorado. However, we do have a 2-goal advantage. Can we lock this game down in the third period and take one of their first games on their home ice? And hopefully we could take next game as well, because that would set us up for a good spot. But let's see what happens in this third period. See if we could lock it down. Come on, boys. I believe in yes. We definitely have the experience to play good defense in the playoffs. We just got to do it for 20 more minutes or 10 more minutes at this point. Nice penalty kill there by the boys. Final 6 minutes. Still up by a pair of goals, and we are going to be able to take one game in Colorado so far. It's now a 2-1 series. Nicely done, boys. Shots were 28-28, so a good performance from Bergqvist and a much better defensive effort from our team. And also, we scored more than 2 goals, which gave us the victory. So that's kind of an interesting stat, though. When we score like 2 goals or less, we're losing the game all the time. But if we score 3 goals, it's usually a win. So Walter from Bickle and Vernarski, Vandermeer from Bickle, and Vernarski from Bickle. So Bickle picking up 3 assists in a crucial game. Moving him down to that second line seems to have worked really well for the line chemistry a little bit. He gets first star of the game, Bergqvist a second star, and Vernarski with 2 points, the third star of the game. Alright, the question is now, are we going to be able to take 2 games in Colorado? Because if we do not take this game, we're still in a bad spot. But if we take this game, this might be the home ice win trend, where basically you lose on home ice for every single game up until game 7. Which game 7 we would win the series if that's the case. There could be some other scenarios for sure as well, but Anaheim is now up 2-1 on LA, and then you have Ottawa up 3-0 and Philadelphia up 3-0. So the Eastern Conference is having a lot easier of a time, it seems like, while the West is a little bit more tight at the moment. All right. Do we want to keep our team the same? Probably, considering we just came off of a win. Bickle's now leading the team with 12 points, but he only has 1 goal in the playoffs so far, so it would be nice for him to start scoring some goals too, but I know that he is just a playmaker, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I think we got to keep the team the same for this next game and see if we could get the series back to even again, and then it's going to be a best of 3 if that is the case. All right, so it is a 2-1 series lead for Colorado. Do we have another win in us to tie the series back up and make it a best of 3? This is a very big game for both teams. Hopefully we come out flying a little bit and we score a lot of goals early on, because scoring those goals only in the second period set us apart. Last game we haven't really been scoring that much goals early, and we haven't scored a lot of goals since the Flames series, so would be nice for us to start scoring a little bit more than 3 goals a game, but obviously a defense comes first as well. So here we go. This is a big game. Let's see if we could find a way to tie this one up. Tie this one up at 2. That would be really, really nice. First period of a crucial game 4. 2-1 us. Hey, that's a good start. Bickle again. Okay, so Bickle did score a goal after I called him out about scoring goals, which is nice. He has 4 points in the last 2 games. Winter tied it up, and then Vandermeer gave us the lead. So Vandermeer with goals in back-to-back games as well. Shots are 11-9 in favor of the Avs, but we are up by a goal. So Stuart Skinner so far off to a little bit of a rough start on his home ice. Can we find a way to get some insurance in the second period? Because if we find some insurance in the second period, I could at least breathe a little bit easier in the third period. But if they tie the game up, that makes it a bit scary. So let's have a good second period here, and hopefully we could ride it out in the third as well. Second period. Still 2-1. Okay, we do still have the lead at least, but it would have been nice to get that third goal, because usually when we get that third goal, like I said, we win games. But right now, it's still up in the air on what's going to end up happening. Shots are 24-22 in favor of the Avs. We're up by a goal. Can we get some insurance? Aiden Irving hasn't scored since the first round, so I'm kind of scared about that. Hopefully, he finds a way to score in this next period, because that would be very, very nice and calming for me at the moment. Come on. Come on, guys. I know you have goals in you. We have all the offensive talent in the world. We definitely could score more goals than just these 2 goals. Let's get it done in this third period. Let's see what happens. Come on, guys. Get that insurance marker. Power play for us. Vandermeer scores again. He's got 3 goals in the last 2 games. The defenseman is coming alive. It's great to see. Good timing for that to happen. We have that 2-goal advantage. Final few minutes. Still up by a pair of goals. And we're going to be able to take both games in Colorado after they took both of our games. That's the sign of a championship caliber team. We got outshot 32-31 as well. Bergfist was much better on the road than on home ice, and that is a statement by our Jets team. The question now is, are we going to be able to win 3 straight by winning on home ice? That's kind of weird that we won both the road games, though, because last round it was our home ice was always our winning until game 6. But this time around in round number 2, we've lost home games and we've won road games, so it's been a little bit weird. But I'm very happy that we were able to respond to that. So Bickle from Groshek, Vandermeer from Bickle and Walter, and Vandermeer from Jacuzzi and Groshek. So Vandermeer picking up all 3 of his goals from the playoffs in just these last 2 games. So very clutch from him. He gets first star of the game, Bergfist the second star, and Bickle the third star. So Vandermeer and Bickle definitely did a big factor in terms of us winning those games in Colorado. And we outscored them 6-2. So we didn't score a ton of goals, but we only gave up 2 goals on the road, so that is very nice. And now we have a tie series in a best of 3 scenario. Anaheim and LA are still tied, and both Eastern Conference matchups were sweeps. So it's going to be Ottawa and the Flyers in the Eastern Conference Finals. So bye-bye to Detroit and the Islanders. Kind of crazy. I guess we got to keep the team the exact same, considering the way it's simulating right now. We've had 2 really good defensive efforts. I think we got to keep it the exact same, so let's get to game number 5. We're back on home ice. We have not won a home game since game 5 of the last round. So it would be very nice if we're able to do so here. This is another crucial game for both teams. Whoever wins this game will be 1 win away from the conference finals. Can we get it done on home ice this time around? We know that we need to score at least 3 goals, and we need to play some good defensive hockey as well. Come on, boys. I believe in you. First period of game 5. 2-1 us again. Hey, that's great. Cale Makar opened the scoring, so that's the first time I think almost that they've scored first, which is kind of interesting. Jacuzzi and Scarlett score, so we are getting more goals from the blue line than I was expecting these last few games because Vandermeer, Vernarski, Scarlett have been scoring. Really nice to see, and obviously good to see Jacuzzi on the board as well. Shots are 16-9 in favor of Colorado after the first period, yet we're up by a goal, so Bergqvist has definitely been a lot better these last few games. Hopefully he can maintain that form, and hopefully our offense can get some more insurance because obviously having only a 2-1 lead is not ideal. But if we score that third goal, maybe there's a high chance that we could win this game. What is going to happen in the second period of this crucial Game 5? We're going to allow the tying goal. Dawson Mercer hasn't scored in a while. It's now a 2-2 game going into the third period. Oh boy. This is another close game. There's been a lot of close games in this series, I would say. Shots are 27-24 in favor of Colorado. It's a 2-2 game. If we score that third goal, does that guarantee us the win? Probably not in this game. But obviously, if we give up another goal, that's a little bit problematic. So we need to find a way to have a good third period here. Bergqvist needs to be on his game like he's been on his game for the last few games. And we need to find a way to get that third goal and maybe a fourth one as well because we know the Avs can score in bunches. Do we have another goal in us? Or are we going to lose our third straight home game and have to win another road game to force a Game 7? Is it going to be that trend that I was mentioning earlier? Let's see what happens in the third period. Immediately we get a goal less than a minute in from Jacuzzi on the power play to give us our third goal on the night. So that's a huge goal from Arthur Jacuzzi. He has been pretty solid in this game. He's got 2 goals. Love to see it. And he's got like 3 goals, I think, in this series, actually, for that matter, because I think he scored in Game 1. Final few minutes, still up by 1 goal. Can we lock this one down? Yes, we can. Bickle the empty netter. And once again, if we score 3 goals, we guarantee ourselves victory, which is amazing. Final shots were 36-35, and Bergqvist has now won 3 straight games. And our team has only allowed a total of 4 goals in these last 3 games as well. Absolutely amazing. He's turning into a defensive monster, it seems like. So, Jacuzzi from Goldman and Vernarski, Scarlett's first from Irving and Ekholm, Jacuzzi from Groshek and Irving, and Bickle from Eberle. So, Irving's been picking up some assists, but he has not scored in this round, which is kind of surprising. But Jacuzzi the first star, Bergqvist the second star, and Scarlett the third star. So, we are 1 win away from going to the conference finals after we lost the first 2 games. I was a little bit skeptical because obviously both those games being home games. But our team has been on a little bit of a roll here as of late. We win this next game on the road. We go to the conference finals. And LA has the Ducks by the balls. Damn, so it might be a matchup against Michael Misa if we do get there. That's going to be really interesting considering that Michael Misa trade was a trade that I was not really wanting to make, but I kind of had to make with the state of our roster in a sense because I wanted to get Ekholm into the lineup. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens if we do get to that conference finals versus the Kings, or if it's going to be the Ducks again. Okay, well, I think we got to keep the team the exact same because we've been playing some good offensive hockey. We've been playing some good defense as well. Because if you look over our last 3 games now, we've scored a total of 10 goals in 3 games, which isn't crazy, but it's still decent. But we've only given up those 4 goals, which is amazing. So the defense has been on par. We need to find a way just to win this game, and then we get ourselves to that conference finals. Come on, guys. We have all the experience in the world, like I said. We win this game. We go to the conference finals yet again, and we have a chance to maybe go to another cup finals. Can we do so? Let's see what happens in Game 6. Or are we going to go to a Game 7 back on home ice? Because that would be interesting too. But I don't want to go to a Game 7. First period of Game 6. 1-0 us. Hey, good start. Bickle, again, Bickle's been really good since we went down 2-0. He's been having points in every single one of these wins, so very good start for our team. Shots are 11-10 in favor of us, so a pretty even period once again, but we do have the lead. And once again, we are playing some good defensive hockey in these last 12-plus periods or so. Can we get some insurance in the second period to make me feel a little bit safer, or are we going to have one of those second periods that I do not really like? Let's see what happens. Second period. 2-0 us. A huge goal from Jacuzzi, who once again also has been great as of late. He's got now like 4 goals in the series, I think, or 5. And we are a period away from being able to go back to those conference finals despite being down 2-0 at one point in the series. Can we get that third goal and lock this one down? Let's see what happens in period number 3. Come on, guys. You got this. We got the experience. We could lock these games down. Aiden Irving, there he is. I knew he wasn't going to go too long without scoring. He gets his first goal of the series to make it 3-0. Our team has been dominant defensively the last few games. Komatov makes it 3-1 to get the Avs on the board. Final few minutes, but your Winnipeg Jets are going to be going back to the conference finals, knocking out the Avs after they lost the first two. They win 4 straight games, and we might be matched up with Michael Misa, or we might be matched up with the Anaheim Ducks again. Fantastic. So Bickle from Jaquezie and Eberle, Jaquezie from Eberle and Goldman, Irving from Ekholm and Goddard. It's kind of crazy that Irving only had the 1 goal in that round, yet we still won. Bergqvist the first star of the game, Jaquezie the second star, and Eberle the third star. But Bergqvist definitely helped to turn that series around as well. Like, it wasn't just the offensive like Jaquezie and Bickle and stuff like that. Like, literally in these last 4 games that we won, we only gave up a total of 6 goals. Or not 6 goals, 5 goals in 4 games. So our goaltending all of a sudden has completely shifted into being really good. And the other series is going to a Game 7, which is interesting. So we'll find out who we're playing next round once we take a look at the player stats. So let's see our player stats after 2 rounds. And then obviously we'll see the reveal if it's going to be Michael Misa or the Anaheim Ducks. So Bickle on 16 points. He was really good, especially in those 4 games that we won. Ekholm on 10 points has been pretty good. Goldman on 7 points. Hansen on 3. He did score the first goal of the series, so at least that's a positive. Eberle on 11 points, pretty solid. Grosek on 8 points in 12 games has been a little bit quiet. I'm still hoping he comes alive a little bit because obviously he should be doing a lot better considering he's getting paid. How much money is it again? 6.7. Okay, never mind. It's not too much. Walter on 6 points and a +9. He's been really good. And then Alexiev on 2 points. Right wing wise, Irving on 12 points, Jaquezie on 12 points, Wilson on 5 points, and Bulbrook on 3. So Aiden Irving only the 1 goal and a couple assists in that round, 3 assists actually. So he had 4 points, I think, in 6 games total, if I'm not mistaken, but only 1 goal is kind of surprising. Defensively, Goddard on 7 points has been good. Vernarski on 6. Vandermeer only on 5 points, but definitely came alive in some of those games. Scarlett on 2 points. Louis Farr on 1 point. And Backer has nothing so far. He's also the only minus defenseman, which is kind of weird. And then goaltending-wise, yeah, Bergqvist has been really good. He has been really good. Like, he's up there for maybe a Conn Smythe favorite if we are to win the Cup this year. With a .928 save percentage at this point and a 2.25. It's fantastic stuff from Per Bergqvist, especially those last 4 games that we won. So there's that. Now the question is it Michael Misa or is it the Anaheim Ducks yet again? Let's see the reveal. Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? It's going to be the Anaheim Ducks yet again. So sorry to Michael Misa. He gets knocked out in round 2. But we are going to be taking on the Ducks yet again. This is such a slaughterfest. Like, this is definitely a rivalry. And there's no question about that. That's really crazy that we've literally played the Ducks. I think it's been like at least 3 or 4 straight seasons. I should actually take a look at my videos here for a second. Let me just take a look and see how much times we've played them in the last few years. Like, if I go to my playlist, let's see. Let me actually go to the bottom of my playlist if possible. I want to just take a look at how much times we played them because I feel like it's been at least 4 or 5 times. So last year we played the Ducks in the conference finals. The year before that we played the Ducks in the conference finals. The year before that we played the Ducks in the conference finals. And that's pretty much it. So I think this is the 4th consecutive year, if I'm not mistaken, that we played the Ducks in the conference finals. Like I said, they're the one team that I would say that deserves a Stanley Cup at some point, but obviously we want one Cup too again. But yeah, that's interesting. Flyers and Ottawa, I don't know how good those teams are because none of those teams have ever been in the Cup finals before in these last like 6+ seasons. But anyways, let's take a look at what the Ducks did during the regular season and what they did during the playoffs so far. And then we'll take a look at their roster and see what they're looking like. They're probably looking similar to the last few years, my guess, but you never know. So regular season-wise, if we go to Western Conference, they were the 2nd best team in the Western Conference, only behind us. That's right. That is right. They scored a little bit less goals per game than us. They allowed a tiny bit more than us. So we're very similar teams regular season-wise so far. Their power play was better, though, by almost 5%. So they have a really good power play, apparently. And their penalty kill was a little bit better. So they had better special teams. We were pretty even 5-on-5. They did score 1 more shorthanded goal, but we still finished above them in the standings. In terms of playoffs, let's take a look at their playoff stats here. If we go to Western Conference and sort this by wins, they are 8-5 or 8-4. We're scoring around the same amount of goals per game around. Like, they're scoring a little bit less because they played one more game. They're allowing more goals per game than us, but they're still playing solid. Our power play has been better, and penalty kill wise, we've been better too. We've been 4-2 on home ice and on the road. They're 4-3 on home ice and 4-2 on the road. Okay. The question is now, what is the roster looking like? How similar to the last few years? Like, I'm guessing Zegras, McTavish, all those guys are still there, unless some of them retired, which I don't remember if that happened or not, but this should be interesting. Oh, boy. Yep, this team is still pretty similar to the last few years. They're very top-heavy. As you got Trevor Zegras, Leo Carlson, and Yanni Koivisto. Very filthy top line. Yeah, that's one of the best top lines in the NHL, no problem. Second line has Weston Lutz with Mason McTavish and Ryder Ritchie. That line's been together for a number of years at this point. And then their bottom six is definitely a little bit weaker, as you can see, with Tony Matvichuk, who is a low elite that they drafted only 2 years ago. So they got another good player that's coming up. Interesting. They also have Sven Oduya and Clifford Odell. And a fourth line of Felix Unger-Sorum. And they also have Dmitry Medvedov and Pavel Dorofeyev. So, yeah, that team is really good. Center depth is great, but they're mostly top six heavy, I would say. Especially with that top line. Like that top line so far, Zegras has 13 points. Carlson has a total of 13 as well. And in Yanni Koivisto, we know he's really good as well. 13 points for him too. So, that top line is very good. Second line seems to be a little bit quieter, but definitely has been solid too. From a defensive standpoint, oh yeah, they're a good defensive core as well. Minyukov and Drysdale, they're still there. Terrell Sawyer and Olin Zellweger are still there. Very solid top four and stuff for Sawyer, I would say. And then top six of Prohorkin and Wayne Glass. Interesting. So that a top six pairing is not too bad either. But Sawyer and Glass definitely make this defensive core a little bit weaker, but it's still really good on paper. Goaltending wise, they do still have Tommy Ladd and Gavin Curry didn't get dealt. But Tommy Ladd is a very solid goaltender. 920 save percentage in the regular season. His playoff numbers have also been really good. As you can see, since he's jumped to the NHL, he's never made it less further than the conference finals. So he's been winning games. Gavin Curry's been a long-time Duck as well, or last few years at least. Not as good during the regular season, but he did also get them pretty far in the playoffs one year when we played them. In terms of their depth options, Kyler Yamamoto's still playing at 38, which is kind of a surprise. Tommy Carolotti's there, and Francisco Arcuri. Didn't I have Arcuri in this series briefly? I feel like I did. Yes, I did, for 10 games. I don't know why I remember that all of a sudden, but I did. Interesting. So I would give them a really good team. Obviously, they won 55 games in the regular season. They're very good offensively for the most part, mostly top six heavy though. Their defense is solid. Their goaltending is solid. Their depth options are okay too. So it's definitely going to be another big slaughterfest. I could go 7 games. Like every time we played the Ducks so far, I think in the conference finals, it's gone like 6-7 games. So there's no question about this that I think it's going to go 7 games. And then whoever wins will have to face either Ottawa or Philadelphia, which honestly I have no idea if there's any former players on those teams or not. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we look to extend our 60-win season as we take on the Anaheim Ducks again in the conference finals and look to get to another Stanley Cup finals after last year we were knocked out in the conference finals. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.